So hi everybody, and welcome back to another video on my channel discussing the vagus nerve, the autonomic nervous system, and how we have this capacity to recover and heal ourselves. I take you through my own journey, how I healed myself from so much autoimmune and chronic pain issues and dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder after the death of my son 10 years ago. Most importantly, please at this point, if you can, like and subscribe to my channel. It makes such a massive difference. It means that I can encourage other people to come and join and listen to this message. I really support you being part of this journey. So if you can, please subscribe, hit the bell. I release a video every week, something to excite and possibly change some of the ways in which you live your life. I also have a Patreon page, so you can go over there, check out Justin Caffrey at Patreon, and really whatever you find is possible for you to commit to my Patreon page. If you want to get some of the fantastic extras that I offer, if you want to work with me on a one-to-one basis, all of those details are available on Patreon. But today I'm excited. We're going to talk about the microbiome, the vitamins and minerals and dietary supplements that I use to maintain my health. And I remember for me, gut microbiome was an incredible discovery. I had leaky gut, I had irritable bowel, but I also had asthma, I had reflux, I was taking antacids, I was taking medication and steroids and God knows what for so long. But I understood and started to realize the power of the gut, the microbiome, and our capacity to heal within that. An extraordinary statistic is that 70% of our immune system is contained within our gut. So if we are taking things that are impacting and damaging our gut, then that's a real problem. But we also have to make sure that we're eating a balanced diet in order to allow the necessary pH balance within our gut. So it's that balance between the alkalines and the acid in our stomach. And although many of you may have taken antacids and may be taking antacids, antacids are not really for dealing with lowering the acid level. They're dealing with the reflux that's passing up through the intestinal tubes, where sphincters that would normally close to prohibit that acid rising up are not functioning well. And in that way, the antacids are dealing with the acid higher up. In your stomach and in your gut, you actually want to have a level of acidity that's okay, because that's the key thing to break down all the food compounds that you eat. And some things that can have an impact on your microbiome and on the balance in your stomach are ibuprofen. You know, if you don't need it, don't take it, because it will adversely impact your stomach lining. Antibiotics. If you've taken prolonged levels of antibiotics because of your own circumstances, please be mindful of what that's doing to your body. And again, steroids. It will all have an impact on your microbiome and on your stomach. And of course, I'm not advocating that anybody stops taking any of their meds, not at all. What I'm trying to say is there is a capacity to heal ourselves. We can take care of our own microbiome. And here are some ways that you can replenish and improve your gut bacteria and your body in terms of your vagus nerve. The following information is purely for guidance purposes. This is an indication of supplements that I use on my road to recovery and how I healed my body and, most importantly, increased my vagal tone. Please seek advice before changing anything yourself, and do not misconstrue this for medical or nutritional advice. Really what I want to look at are the vitamin supplements that I take myself. So this is what I have used. This is part of my journey for the last 8 years and how I continually manage and balance my nervous system. So the vitamins here that I'm offering are available in most health food stores. They're readily available in a lot of food substances, but more often than not, we don't get the right amount of balance. So I supplement where I need to. Key part of my supplementation is a good kind of B complex. So, you know, a nice supplement that incorporates all of those important vitamin B elements, bringing it all into play. In addition to those B complex, I then use B12 on its own. B12 is fantastic for stress, for anxiety, for nerves. It helps with cognitive function. So B12 in addition to the B complex is really good. I use 1,000 milligrams of B12 a day. If you're on a plant-based diet, it can be really helpful to supplement with B12, but actually a lot of people are B12 deficient. So B12 supplement is really helpful to bring into your own supplementary and dietary regime. Then I use magnesium and calcium. When you're using magnesium and calcium, just get a double dose of the magnesium versus the calcium. So if you're taking 600 grams of magnesium, make sure you get 300 grams of calcium. So double the dose, and it just allows for the two of them to absorb better together, and they work then in tandem. Again, magnesium is fantastic in terms of your nervous system and helping you feel good and managing how you're feeling internally and externally. Zinc, another big benefit of zinc, again, great work around the nervous system, mind-body connection, so bring in the zinc. Vitamin D, a lot of the times people are not getting outside enough. So if you're active and you're outside all the time, you don't need to worry about vitamin D. But where I am in Ireland, in the winter time, I vitamin D supplement, because even in the winter time, our days can be quite dark. So the amount of natural sunlight that I'm actually exposed to, even though I would be outside for reasonably long periods of time, diminishes. Vitamin C, fantastic to have. You know, I'm a plant-based individual who consumes an awful lot of fruit and vegetables, but I still use vitamin C as a supplement just to make sure that I'm managing the right amount of vitamin C into my body to keep everything in good shape. And they're the kind of vitamins and supplements that I use in order to manage what's going on within my body, because maybe you're not getting it inside your food, inside your dietary requirements. But if you're starting to work on gut bacteria, if you're starting to work on your microbiome, if you're starting to improve how you feel, then it's really worthwhile to additionally add in some of these vitamins, you know, and obviously take account of your own circumstances and make sure that your body's okay with them. Check with your own dietitian and physician for advices if you need it. But again, my whole channel is devoted to helping you understand how I help myself, you know, what brought me through my own journey. When I'm working with people on a one-to-one, these are typically the vitamins and supplements that I would recommend that they use as well. For guys like me who are over 40, I know, shock, right? You thought I was like 28? No, I'm 46. So for guys who are in their 40s, one of the things that can be of value to consider supplementing is testosterone supplements. So naturally recurring ones, okay? I'm not talking about pumping yourself here with steroids. One of the great ones that I've started to use now is Tongkat Ail, and again, all of these things I'll put details into the description below. Tongkat Ail for me has been a really interesting experience. When men in their it can happen in your late 30s, early 40s, and then all the way up, as your testosterone levels drop, your drive and determination diminishes. You know, testosterone is a naturally occurring hormone in the body. Makes us feel good when we're stressing ourselves, when we're pushing our physical boundaries. So that's why young men are filled with vigor and want to exercise and work out, and women have testosterone too. So not to feel that it's only a male-oriented issue, but in men as we get older, we'll lose a bit of it. So it's also very beneficial for good muscle tone. If you're kind of lifting weights, if you're still working out, and you're not getting the same results, then looking at some of these natural recurring supplements like Tongkat Ail, and another one is Fadogia. And Fadogia actually is quite interesting because it can inspire the testes to start creating more naturally recurring testosterone. So these things are interesting. I'm on trial scale at the moment with Tongkat Ail. I can say I'm in it a few weeks. I find it really interesting. I feel braver, which is a kind of a weird thing to say, but but I feel like I have a little bit more vigor back that I may have lost previously. It also increases your sex drive, and Tongkat Ail and Fadogia are also recommended from a herbal perspective in terms of erectile dysfunction. So something I've discussed before in terms of our vagus nerve and our microbiome. When all of these things cease to function as well as they do, in men that can lead to erectile dysfunction. So when we rebalance this whole being, we can improve these erection issues, which are quite common now, especially in men even in their 30s, because the diet is poor. There's a lot of drugs or alcohol. There's a lot of antibiotics, maybe there's a lot of ibuprofen, there's a lot of steroids in the system. Chronic stress, chronic depression leads to low levels of testosterone. So there's even some interesting studies where people who have long-term chronic depression and using testosterone as a supplement in conjunction with therapy to help boost their sense of self-esteem. It's also an aphrodisiac, so shh, don't tell my wife. But I'm taking it, and maybe I'm a little bit more, I don't know what word I should use on YouTube, frisky, who knows, but let's see what happens. But again, the whole thing is just managing this being. I'm plant-based, so I'm very conscious about what I eat. And what's important to realize is that how you eat and the food that you consume will directly impact your microbiome in your stomach. So these additional supplements will help lift your mood, balance your nervous system, etc. Then you got to look at regular amounts of fruit and vegetable intake. Fiber within your diet's important as well. Don't go high fiber, just bring fiber in. And that way you can allow your microbiome to recover, restore, restorate, and then function at its optimal level. If you're eating a lot of fast food and you have an autoimmune disease, you have a problem with your vagus nerve, you have chronic pain, you have chronic inflammations within your body, please, please stop. One of the most important things that you can do for yourself is to shift onto a nice, clean diet. As I said before, I'm plant-based. I'm not advocating plant-based, but what I am advocating is understand the nature and source of your food. If you're going to eat meat, try your best to avoid meat that's processed. See if you can find out where did it come from. If you can afford it, look for organic meat. If you can't afford organic meat, just try and cut back your meat consumption and increase your fruit and vegetable consumption. So by having a more balanced diet, you will balance out your microbiome, and within the balancing of the microbiome, you are leaning into your own immunity. 70% of our immune system is inside our gut. But we now know that our gut feeds our mind and our brain. So in terms of performance, in terms of well-being, in terms of happiness, in terms of joy, in terms of finding fun in the world, fun, joy, happiness, and a joy of living is in your gut. So it's really important to focus on that. Keep your diet clean. Look at these supplements. Think about how that operates, and hydrate. Make sure you're getting in, kind of 3 to 4 pints of water a day. I'm trying to think how that transfers. That's, yeah, maybe 6 pints, 5-6 pints is equal to kind of 2.5 liters. So keep the water coming in. That allows everything to process well, which means when your food is being digested, this process of food digestion is called peristalsis, which is basically a wave, and the wave of how the food is processed through the gut and out the other end works effectively. So thanks for joining me for another great video. There's a ton of other work on the vagus nerve on my channel. Please do like and subscribe. It means so much to me. Check out the rest of my content. Please share this video if you can, if you know somebody who needs some help. And if you'd like to work with me, or you'd like me to come and speak to your company, I do work on Zoom from all over the world. Just reach out and send me an email. My email address is there. And I wish you well. See you next week for another video discussing the vagus nerve, healing ourselves, and how we have this immense capacity to find whatever we need right here.